Hey, long time no see. I haven't posted in, I don't know, I haven't posted in over a year, I think over a year and a half. And so I decided to just come on alive and just tell you guys what I've been up to lately, specifically to Colombia, and to get you all's feedback on, not feedback, or answer your all's questions and see what you guys want to know about what it's like to even be in Colombia. Now, this is the first time I've ever gone live, so this is going to be a little bit of a journey. So, one of the things I want to talk about today is basically just tell a little bit about myself and how I've been in Colombia for 9 years and how I've seen a lot of the changes that have happened in Colombia because a lot more people are starting to move here. Specifically, people de mi color, Black folks are starting to move here a lot more. And so I also want to talk about Black expats, specifically a Black expat from the US and living in Colombia. So, first things first, if you are new here, my name is Royal and I have been living in Colombia for it's year 9, and I moved to Colombia for the first time in 2013. So it's been a while. And the reason that I moved to Colombia was because I was sick and tired of being in the States. It was 2 weeks after I graduated college that I moved here, and I was supposed to stay here for 1 year just as a volunteer, as an English volunteer, and then I just decided I love this place so much. And so I stayed. Now, in college, I studied Spanish and I studied communications and journalism. I really wanted to be a technical director and like produce award shows and things like that. However, uh, I like teaching and I like Colombia, so I decided to stay. One of the things that I remember when I first came to Colombia was just thinking about how culturally different it was, and also how I was kind of really unprepared for life here. Mainly because at the time there weren't many blogs or vlogs online talking about life in Colombia in 2013. And also, there weren't many stories or many accounts of what it's like to be Black in Colombia. So the first time I ever uh, did research about racism or anything in Colombia, I almost found nothing. There was one video I found on YouTube that it was titled like "There's Black people in Colombia," and it actually ended up being a group, Afro-Colombian group called Choke Down, and it was their music video, and that music video was the only, I guess, research I was able to find after hours and hours of research of what it's like to be Black in Colombia. So when I moved to Colombia, I came here not knowing if people were going to meet me with pitchforks or with welcoming arms. And for most of my time here, it's been really friendly. The people have been incredible. The people have been so nice. However, there have been times where I've been met with overt and covert racism, from macro to microaggressions. But that could be a topic for another live. I think what I want to also talk about today is kind of like the change of, I guess, opportunity and access now that you can have if you come to Colombia as an expat. So when I first moved to Colombia, I had to come with all of my hair supplies because it was really difficult to find things for curly hair. Also, when I first moved to Colombia, having curly hair didn't really seem like it was as popular. You saw a lot more people with straightened hair if they had curly hair. It was harder to find the products in stores. However, nowadays, I don't even have to bring my own supplies. I can actually go to the store, I can actually go to a mall and find the proper conditioners, the proper shampoos. There are amazing natural hair shops that are now in Medellin, for example, that will cater to us curly hair girls. And 10 years ago, I would have killed for something like that. Now, one thing that I do want to mention, though, as far as the culture goes, I want to say that when people first come here or when they first hear that you're going to want to come to Colombia or you're curious about Colombia, as they will probably tell you that it's going to be so dangerous. They're going to tell you that you're going to get kidnapped. They're going to tell you about all these things. You're going to get, chopped into bits. dark past before. However, uh, a lot of things have changed. And while Colombia isn't this utopia that is not unsafe, it actually is the second in the world for gangs, for organized crime. So that's something to be aware of. However, a lot of that is localized in the regions that have that if you're a tourist, you have no business being in there anyways. A lot of the touristic areas like Cartagena or Medellin, you won't really have those type of issues. You might run into pickpocketing and things like that. But in general, safety wise, you just have to move in a smart way. You have to not be too flashy. You have to know not to have your phone out and things like that because you could get pickpocketed. I've actually been pickpocketed before. It wasn't fun. I'm still pissed off about it. It was an iPhone 4. It was 2014. Anyways, but it happens. Now you're probably thinking, I've already seen so many headlines. What are you talking about? People are getting murked left and right. People are getting scoped. If you haven't heard of scopamine, it's a natural flower that kind of turns you into a zombie, and it could be administered through powder, put in your drinks. All you have to do is just inhale it and it immediately zombifies you. And why is that dangerous? Because zombies have no faculties. It's like you have a lobotomy and you're very impressionable. And so what they end up doing is they end up saying, "Hey, we're friends now. Let's go to your apartment." And you go, "Great." Open up your apartment on your own volition and they will rob you blind. Then they'll take you to the ATM. "Hey friend, put in your code." You're like, "Sure." And you just drain your bank accounts because you are zombified or lobotomized. And that's been in the news a lot. But what ends up happening is if you're in that situation, a lot of the times it's men that are targeted because the men are on the dating apps now. Like I said before, there's so much organized crime in Colombia, and one of the ways that the gangs get their victims is they go to Tinder. And so Tinder is one of those apps that you have to be very careful of. Um, the girls that are on there are not working alone. Again, it's a network of people. And so if you've seen headlines about how dangerous Colombia is, it's usually if you are going to date and be on Tinder. Um, I use Tinder myself to meet people. I use Hinge, and I can talk about that in another live. I also talk about my experience with dating Colombian men in general. If you thought Risa Tisa's story, if you thought Legion was trouble, you just first have to date a Colombian man. And then you'll see that that's just probably child's play. But I feel like that's a time for another day. Um, but what I think what is so amazing about just the evolution of Colombia, at least from what I've seen, is just the misconception or the reputation of Colombians has changed so much, or the country. Colombia's been named as some of the one of the happiest countries in the world, and when you come here, you absolutely can see that. It's not just a country full of you know the white girl. It's not a country that's just full of violence. It's actually a country full of really amazing, polite, helpful people that love their country so much, and all they want to do is just see that their country is in a positive light. Taken away is challenged. And so far it seems like um a lot of Colombians are really happy that their, I guess, perception in the world is changing. I personally love also seeing how when I first got to Colombia, there weren't a lot of African Americans here, and now we are all over the place. We are starting businesses. We are deciding to live here long term. We are building community in Colombia, Medellin, Colombia. There is a huge community of us that we are supporting each other. We throw events, we have spades tournaments, we do cookouts and things like that. And so it's a really good place for us to have a piece of home, but in another country. Um, Also, speaking Spanish is obviously something that you guys are going to need to know while you are in Colombia. And I'll probably in a different live talk about some of the best ways to do that. one of the ways that I did it, I will say now, even though my degree is in Spanish, I came to Colombia though barely speaking anything. One of the things that I did was, again, dating somebody that doesn't speak any English. That actually helps so much. But I will get to that in a different day. So um, it's been about 10 minutes or so, and I just challenged myself to just come onto live just for 10 minutes because I've never done this before. And I think I'm going to be more active on YouTube so I can answer your questions about what it's like to be in Colombia. But also, I've traveled to 50 countries before. And so it's also going to be about solo travel, travel as a woman, solo travel as a Black woman, and all the things that come with that. So if you've made it this far, thank you. And I hope to see you the next time. And if you are watching this, like on a replay, please type in the chat all your questions, and I will try to address them in a future live or a future video. Ciao, ciao.